Alright guys, this is another anti-VFX on the job training video inside Adobe Premiere. So in this video we are going to take a look at how to properly create a perfectly fit IGTV video for the IGTV. So currently I have finished the project, so you can see the preview here, right? So this is the preview and this is the timeline. So what I'm going to do is I'm go through this timeline and I break down the techniques that I have used in this video, so you can get a practical idea about how to use these things. So first thing is when we create videos for the IGTV, you have to select the correct resolution. So it is not the standard HD size, but recently IGTV announced that they accept the vertical and horizontal videos both type, but let's create this kind of perfectly fitting vertical video for the Instagram, right? So let's create a new sequence. You can create new sequence here, and here you should go to the settings and you must select the editing mode, not any kind of preset. You should choose custom editing mode. You can keep the frame rate 29 or 30, and this is the important thing for the IGTV. The frame size should be 1080 for the horizontal and 1920 for the vertical size, right? So this is the frame size, that is it is 9:16 aspect ratio, and this is the perfectly fitting size for the IGTV. So keep this in mind. So those are the important settings that you need to remember. So you can, if you like, if you constantly creating videos for the IGTV, you can save as a preset, let's say IGTV, right? So you can add the description here or click OK. So now when the next time when you are going to create a new sequence, you can see that the IGTV preset here, right? So let's say when the next day we are going to create a sequence, now we have this IGTV preset, and you can see the frame width and height and also the frame rate, everything is set, so you can quickly start the work. So you can create any kind of preset, like for example I have, if you create videos for the Facebook, you can create this kind of Facebook square setting like this. You can save a preset for the Facebook square videos. The frame size should be 1080 by 1080. So you can create a one-time preset and you can use that preset again and again, right? So because if you are creating videos for different social media platforms, you must select the proper sizing, right? So otherwise it doesn't look good on when you publish those videos. So this is the empty sequence. So now I go to the edited sequence and I'm going to explain the some features that I have used. So this is a webcam clip, right? So it doesn't looks very good, but I cannot scale it to fit it to the vertical size. So what I did is I created some external graphic, right? So if you take a look at that graphic, I created that graphic inside the Adobe Photoshop, right? So this is the graphic that I created. So this is a Photoshop graphic, you can see here. So I created this as a PNG file, and in this place I have this is actually the transparent area, so you can see those transparent pixels if you turn on the transparency grid, right? So you can see, so this is so as you can see, this is the transparent grid. So you can see so we have created this graphic. You can create this inside Adobe Photoshop or any graphic tool. If you like, you can create that kind of thing inside the Premiere too. So this is the image layer that we have created. So I turn off these layers. Now you can see this is the image layer. So I imported it to the timeline, and you can see, and I have put the video below that, right? So I can scale the video to fit with that to fit with this window, right? So we can take a perfect look like this. So this is how created the style, and this I have added the branding logo and the title and some things. So also inside this inside Adobe Premiere, I just created the name as a new text layer. All right, so her name. So because next time I can when I have another testimonial, I can just simply double click on this layer and I can change the name, and I can replace the video by right clicking and replace clip from bin, right? So that way I can easily replicate this template when I got another person doing a testimonial about the process. So that way we can easily speed up the editing process. So you have to remember that kind of stuff. And the next thing is here I want to show you another thing, right? So I have, you can see I have edited this sequence. If you take a look at that section, I have cutted the video, right? So based on the audio, so you can see I have used the dip to white transition here. So you can see it's a pretty quick. So you can use dip to white transition in a situations like this. For example, if the person is talking long story and you want to seamlessly cut the story, you can remove the parts and you can add, like, it must be quick, right? So when you double click on that transition, you can get the transition is almost 3 frames, right? So that it must be pretty fast. So you can see it doesn't show the cut inside the video. So it's a pretty good occasion to use this dip to white transition. You can find that transitions inside the on your transition on the effect and presets panel. If you take a look at, go to the effects, you can see dip to white. So this is the transition. So I have changed the duration to like 3 frames. So the keyboard shortcut to add the transition is when you delete, and keyboard shortcut is Control D, right? So you can you can use this Control D keyboard shortcut to add this dip to transition, because when you right click on a transition, and you have to set the selected as the default transition. So when you press the Control D, it applies the default transition. So if you want to make your default transition like dip to black, you can go to that preset effect transition and set selected as default transition. So now you can see it is in a blue border. That means we can identify what is the default transition currently. So now if we press the Control D, it will apply the dip to black transition here like this, right? So for these kind of scenarios, dip to white is pretty good. So the practical advice is once you finish the cutting your video, select all the clips and press the Control D after selecting the right transition, in this case dip to white. And the one thing you need to remember is the normal transition duration is pretty long. So before you do that, you should go to the effects and you have to go to the preferences, and here you can see let's go to that place. Here in the timeline section, playback, not yes, in the timeline section you can adjust the video transition default duration, right? So currently normally it is set to a default value like 15 or 20 frames, but because if you add that kind of long transition to this kind of scenario, it doesn't look good. So we must use this transition pretty fast. So that's why we have to go to this place and we should change the default transition duration to like 3 frames. So 3 frames work pretty well. And also you can change the audio transition default duration to like 3 frames. That's pretty good. So once you change that, then you can select all the clips and you can press Control D. So that is the way to easily add the transition, and you can speed up the editing process. So once you finish the work, you can export this. You can press Control M and you can select H264. That is the MP4 codec that we want to get. And here you can select match source, right? So you can see it match with the sequence, and here the bitrate is important. So you have to select like VBR2. That means it takes a little bit long, but it provides a higher quality because it render video in 2 passes. So for the target bitrate, set it like 8 bits, and for the maximum bitrate, you can set like 12 megabits per second. So we get an 80 MB file, so it doesn't problem. So we can upload the video to IGTV. Once you upload the video to IGTV, they re-encode this video based on their system. So because we have encoded this video with higher bitrate, you can get final quality when you posted this IGTV video. So those are the tips that I wanted to share with you. So I think these type of videos are really helpful for you, because we are breaking down an actual project, so that way you can understand what kind of work we have done inside the actual project. So that's a pretty good method to learn new techniques. So I'll be back with the next video, and stay tuned.